Hi, I'm Nancy Darling. I am the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Adolescence, and we are running a series of videos on how to take your really great research and turn it into a great publishable article that people will read. So today we're going to talk about titles. In a lot of ways, I think of titles as trivial. From my own research, it's the last thing that I write. On the other hand, it's probably the single most important thing that you do when you start out and to submit your article. Why? Because it's the very first thing that people see. It's the first thing that an editor sees when they look at your paper and decide whether or not to send it out to review or to desk reject it. It's the first thing that a reviewer sees when they decide what the quality of your work is and whether they even want to take on the review assignment. And it's the very first thing that a potential reader sees when they look you up in Web of Science. They see your article and they say, do I really want to read this? Your title's the first thing they read. So think about how it's important. You want your title to be clear and informative. And when I mean clear, what I mean is it doesn't use jargon. It tells your reader what it is about. And most specifically, it tells your reader how it is moving the field forward, because we read articles to learn something we don't already know. That's what your title should be conveying. You should not use jargon, and you should never, ever, ever use initials or abbreviations. Why? Because lots of different types of people read your article, read your title. People who are experts in the field, they can probably get over it. But people who are moving into the field and are learning something new, they may not know what those abbreviations are, and they particularly may not put them into the search engine. And if your paper doesn't come up in the search engine, no one is going to read it. You're also talking to people who are both native English speakers and non-native English speakers. And again, you want to have clear language that everyone can understand. You need to decide whether or not, how you want to describe the population you're studying. So many people will only read articles that are in a population they think is relevant to them. That usually includes default Western nations, so United States, Northern Europe, often who leave who you're where the paper was done out of their description. But many people will not read articles if they're in a, say, for example, if I live in China and the paper's about Chile, I may not read it. Therefore, I suggest, by policy, Journal of Adolescence requires all authors to put their where the data was collected in their abstract, but leave it out of the title unless you're specifically the goal of the paper is to study something specific about that culture. For example, I'm studying Chilean beliefs about parenting in historical context. Of course, that would be in the title. But if I was studying Chilean kids because they're kids, I would leave it out. Thank you.